It is a continuous process. So taking off is a continuous process. It's not like jumping from the 20th story of a building, uh, and all of a sudden some wings will come, and we'll start flying like a Superman. It doesn't happen like that. One will fall and crash. So one has to be sure that the wings have developed or not, and then only one should jump. So it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process. It's not a one-step process. So we start by offering whatever we have to Krishna, and that will give us elevation, and that elevation, then we don't need any material energy or material settings after that. That's how it goes. So therefore, we are not so much concerned about, therefore in one sense, okay, what is exactly my nature? Am I a Vaishya Pravritti, Brahman Pravritti, Kshatriya Pravritti? We don't spend so much time and energy thinking about it. Why? Because already, so much of life is gone. And now if we want to, reinstate ourselves, no, I think I'm Kshatriya, I am good for administration, No, so much of our life is already gone. Then to reposition ourselves here and there is going to take so much of energy, is it not? So therefore, it is said, okay, be in whatever is your profession, okay, you do your profession, try to offer that to Krishna more and more and more. And once one has got, once spiritual engagements are increasing and one is getting thorough taste by that, then one need not be so materially active. It's as simple as that. It's not that one has to go on in his profession till 62. I mean, you may not live only 62, One may not live, person may not live 62, that is the point. So, but it has to be continuous. The curve has to be continuous. The curve cannot have breaks. It's not that, okay, one day one is so attached that 16 hours a day is working. The next day he just leaves everything and he's saying, okay, I am surrendered to Krishna. It won't happen that way. Is it not? One has to increase his spiritual engagements and get that momentum to break off. That's the point. So therefore, too much fluffing in the material engagements is not recommended. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api na tyajet sarvaramba hi doshena dhumena agnir iva vrataha. Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. In conditioned life, all work is contaminated by the material modes of nature. Even if one is Brahman, he has to perform sacrifices in which animal killing is necessary. Similarly, a Kshatriya, however pious he has to fight enemies. He cannot avoid it. Similarly, a merchant, however pious he may be, must sometimes hide his profit to stay in business, or he may sometimes have to do business on the black market. These things are necessary, one cannot avoid them. Similarly, even though a man is a Shudra serving a bad master, he has to carry out the order of the master, even though it should not be done. Despite these laws, one should carry out his prescribed duties, for they are born out of his nature. A very nice example is given here. Although fire is pure, still there is smoke. Yet smoke does not make the fire impure. Even though there is smoke in the fire, fire is still considered to be the purest of the elements. If one prefers to give up the work of a Kshatriya and take up the occupation of a Brahmana, he is not assured that in the occupation of Brahmana there are no unpleasant duties. One may then conclude that in the material world, no one can be completely free from the contaminations of material nature. This example of fire and smoke is very appropriate in this connection. When in winter time one takes a stone Sometimes smokes disturb the eyes and other parts of the body, but still one must make use of the fire despite disturbing conditions. Similarly, one should not give up his natural occupation because there are some disturbing elements. Rather, one should be determined to serve the Supreme Lord by his occupational duty in Krishna consciousness. That is a perfectional point. When a particular type of occupation is performed for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, all the defects in that particular occupation are purified. When results of a work are purified, when connected with devotional service, one becomes perfect in seeing the self within, and that is self-realization. So this is quite interesting because here it is said that never mind the disturbing elements. Disturbing elements are going to be everywhere. See, these, so profession and propensity, these are not much different from each other. These are just, one level and the next level. So nothing much to worry about it. So profession, generally people do make some choices, even though limited, but one does make some choice of which profession he has to be in. Similarly, there is some amount of freedom which a person has. He makes a choice of departments also, is it not? So profession has an element of propensity. Although we were not spiritually very much active and awake, spiritually very much active at the time of these choices, at the time when these choices were made. But whatever level of conditioning, some propensity is involved in the choice. That we cannot deny. So therefore, no need to change one's profession if one has to continue with the profession. Now, profession and preaching, or sankirtan, so now there is a difference of level of dedication in that. So now, as one goes on the dedication curve, one transcends the plane of profession. Then one can be fully into preaching, is it not, or in services. So now when one comes on the dedication plane, then what we call as propensities. Now again there are propensities. Because some amount of material dealings are necessary. Now it is fully being offered to Krishna, but then some amount of material dealings are necessary. So should one write books? Should one do construction? Should one do donor cultivation? Should one do management? So that is where we talk about propensities. Actually both are the same thing. It's just two different planes. The first plane, material energy is too much prominent, so therefore we call it as profession. There is an element of propensity, although not very, the consciousness and vision is not very purified, but still there is an element of propensity involved in that. Because we did make choices. We did make choices. There is now when it comes to a dedicated platform, then now there is no professional variations. Everything is service to Krishna. But what type of service? Again, the talk of propensity comes. Is it not? So whatever one can do, is it not? That's a point. See, another thing is also that whatever is our propensity, we are able to learn it faster. Like for some devotees, certain things are easier, and for some, it looks like a big mountain. Is it not? That means that propensity mismatch. Is it not? Like for some devotees, doing Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, is easy. They're happy to write 500 word essay. That's easy for them. That means their propensity matches with Shastric study. There are others I have seen even in our temple, there are brahmacharis. The Bhakti Shastri was a big, was like climbing Mount Everest for them. They started, but they couldn't complete. So they have not yet completed. 20 years have passed. Or 15 years have passed. So that's the point. So that means propensity mismatch, is it not? Like for some, understanding the sound system and how it works, what type of mic, what type of sound and all that may come natural. It will get natural absorption. For others, the moment they touch a gadget, it is like, already the heart starts palpitating, like that. It's a propensity issue, is it not? So training is also associated with propensity. Is it not? What type of training we want to undergo? It is also associated with propensity. So propensity plays everywhere. So that aspect of nature is everywhere actually. Whether we are conditioned or whether we are a progressive sadhaka, the aspect of nature is everywhere. Only when we, only on grounds of full dedication, we say, okay, now which way you want to serve Krishna. But even if one was not serving Krishna, there is still choices, is it not? So it's same thing, it's just different levels. That's the point. Now here it says disturbing elements are everywhere, is it not? Disturbing elements are everywhere. So this is very interesting. Yes, question. Yes. Yeah, so this particular verse is teaching us that spiritual advancement is gained by steadily committing oneself to one type of service, so that you can go deeper from the level of matter and material aspects and go deeper into the aspect of making a loving offering to Krishna. So that's the point which is being explained here, that that therefore one has to commit to one particular service, uh, not that one goes on hopping. So this verse is discouraging the hopping mentality. So like sometimes so one should not hop. Better you commit yourself to one platform and serve. Whether that choice was most perfectly made, the choice was disastrously made, or imperfectly made, or whatever be the combination and permutation. But once the choice is made, just serve from that platform. That's the point. Otherwise, you see, the mind always keeps hopping. When the balam rice comes, then the mind is very happy. You know? But when the austerity comes, then the mind says, no, 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 let me choose the other service. This is not very good. So that hopping mentality is discouraged here. He's saying, okay, whatever has been committed, now just stand by it and make it an offering to Krishna. That's the point. So, so that is the point. Hmm. So this is very interesting because you see, the mind always wants to hop forward. The grass on the other side looks greener. So sometimes the grass on the other side looks greener. So so this happens every time, is it not? Like one who is doing, say, uh, so everyone, so one who is doing, say, um, uh, so one who is doing, say, one type of service, he always feels the other type of service is better. One doesn't understand every service involves all kinds of austerities. Like a devotee is doing pujari service, he may be thinking, okay, a preacher service is very nice. So, but if he goes to preacher service, he'll see that there are problems and troubles there also. There is austerity there also. Every service is austerity, like pujari service. So pujari service, okay, that pujari service, one has to go proper timing and all that. But a preacher also has to follow proper timing, is it not? Is the class supposed to start 6 o'clock? The preacher reaches 7 o'clock. People will take prasad and leave, is it not? They won't leave any prasad for the preacher also to take, is it not? Say, Prabhu, we thought you are not coming. We ate your food also, No problem. Now what to do? Now the preacher has to wash vessels. Nothing else he can do, Is it not? So there is a sense of timing there also, is it not? There is a sense of attention there also, is it not? There is a sense of very conscious dealings there also. Not that only with the deities one has to be conscious. Like carelessly you cannot even preach. If you say one word here and there, people will catch you. But how did you speak that? So that's a preacher, is it not? So preacher doesn't mean just a person who gives classes, for example. Preacher means he has to do everything. He has to do calling, he has to do follow up, uh, so he has to cook, he has to carry the prasad, he has to serve the prasad, he has to wash the vessels. That is a preacher. He has to do everything. Prabhupada did it. Nahan may say, no, I will not do everything. I will get one candy to do it. I will get one assistant to do it. You can get an assistant, but then you have to do the austerity of handling the assistant. Because the assistant will come, the assistant will do the calling, the assistant will do the cooking, and I like that. But the assistant will have different kinds of demands which you may not like. Now you have to tolerate. Is it not? So assistant will make you do the under here and there, a little bit. So now you have to tolerate those vibrations. Is it not? Then one is okay, maybe I can do it myself. So then you have to do yourself. So this way austerity, that way austerity, it's the same. Austerity remains. So therefore, whichever way, stick to it. Is it not? Like so, stick to it. Is it not? So sometimes, so there is no this way, that way. Like sometimes brahmachari, they look at grihastha so nice, they're coming in a car, they're sleeping on a nice dull bed, with a nice cushion, like that. The pillow is there, the AC is there, like that, and another person is saying with the beautiful wife, very cute looking children and all that, So person may think like that, they're eating very good foodstuffs, they can, that way. So you may think like that, and sometimes, grahastha, they're frustrated, they're thinking, oh, I have to work so hard, foam in the mouth, there to get some money and all that, and look at these brahmacharis there, they're just enjoying, they just take their plate for a prasad falls, Is it not? So which is good? Brahmachari good, grahastha good, both are bogus actually. Means both have austerities involved. Both are have troubles involved actually. So what one should do, whatever one is committed, just move forward in that. Is it not? Just move forward in that. There's no point thinking this way, that way. Is it not? So this is what the Lord is discouraging here. The disturbing elements are everywhere. In every setting, there are some things which you may like. Is that not? Like temple president, we like the post. Temple president comes and he says, "Okay, this is the decision everybody has to follow." But then, what are the austerities involved that we don't know? How much mental pressure comes that we don't know? So in that comes, you may say, "Oh, it's very dangerous, is it not?" So okay, if you are hankering for it, now you go come temple president. Now don't cry. Remain in that position. People will purify you fully. Is it not? Like that. So that's the point. We remain in the position and we move on. Rather than, so we move on, we'll be able to take shelter of the spiritual things. Our tendency is to fluff into material only. We say, okay, Krishna, I'm making an offering, like that. We catch one matter, and then, without, reaching to Krishna, we start running after another form of matter. When are you going to, transcend? Is it not? That's the point. Therefore, steadiness and stability is the important, is the backbone, the foundational principle in Varnasrama. Foundational principle in Varnasrama. And that's what the Lord is explaining here. So now it comes to a point that, okay, whatever be one's material position, whatever be one's committed service, chosen or given, doesn't matter much. Whatever is there, it will involve material encumbrance and material disturbances. One has to go on. So what will help one go on? Again, Vaishnava qualities. Is it not? That's why you see now in the next verse the Lord is explaining. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spriha Naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasin adigacchati. One who is self-controlled and unattached, and who disregards all material enjoyments, can obtain, by the practice of renunciation, the highest stage of freedom from reaction. Real renunciation means one should always think himself part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore think that he has no right to enjoy the fruits of his work. Since he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the results of his work must be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. This is actually Krishna consciousness. The person acting in Krishna consciousness is really a sannyasi, one in the renounced order of life. By such a mentality, one is satisfied because he is actually acting for the Supreme. Thus, he is not attached to anything material. He becomes accustomed to not taking pleasure in anything beyond transcendental happiness which is derived from service of the Lord. A sannyasi is supposed to be free from the reactions of his past activities. But a person who is in Krishna consciousness automatically attains this perfection without even accepting the so-called order of renunciation. This state of mind is called as Yoga Rudha, or perfection of yoga, as confirmed in the third chapter. Yes, tav atmaratir evasyat. One who is satisfied in himself has no fear of any reaction from his activity. So, in the previous verse, the Lord is explaining that one who is doing his duty, he doesn't incur sin. So, when he doesn't incur sin, when he is offering the results of his duty to Krishna, so sometimes devotees say, okay, we are working in some software company, it is doing some sinful activities, the company managers doing, owners are doing sinful activities. How do we, so will we get sin or not? We'll get sin. So how do we safeguard ourselves from the sin? You offer the results of what you are doing to Krishna. Then you will not get sin. Is it not? So that's the point which is explained here. Now what is explained here is that, okay, whether one is Brahman, whether one is Kshatriya, whether one is Shudra, whether one is Vaishya, what is needed to transcend from material to spiritual is sense control and being detached from the material affairs. A Brahman also gets balam rice, a Kshatriya also gets it, Vaishya also gets it, and Shudra also gets it. Is it not? So one has to go, one has to be detached. The same principles are needed. The same vairagya is needed, is it not? The same dedication is needed. So therefore Prabhupada is making the point that no matter whatever position one is in, if one is completely absorbed in offering everything to Krishna, he is a sannyasi, even though he is not officially, formally in the renounced order of sannyas. He is a sannyasi. Such a person is sannyasi. Because he is sannyasi because he is completely absorbed in Krishna. He is offering whatever he has to Krishna. That's the beautiful aspect the Lord is explaining here. So therefore, a devotee is not encouraged to worry about any material factors. How much conditioning I have, am I qualified or not, how much skills I have, what is my educational background. It is explained when it comes to the service of the Lord, one should just jump and dive. Because by rendering service to the Lord, everything is automatically taken care of by the process of purification. So, okay, we are not pure, we are offering some impure service, but the process of offering service is purifying us. So, therefore, the nature of the service performed also goes on improving, is it not? Like that. So, wherever we start, that's fine. If we go on engaging ourselves, the nature of our service to Krishna will go on improving. And that's how we are elevating ourselves from the from the material plane to the spiritual plane. So in the material plane, karma, the physical activity is very prominent, conspicuous and prominent. But now, as it is getting, as our activities are getting purified, and as we are offering to Krishna, the activity per se is not important. And now the object of offering starts becoming more prominent. So whether one has chappan bhog in his hand, like Srila Madhavendra Puri is offering, great gorgeous bhoga, to the Lord, to Lord Srinathji or Gopalji. So that's very opulent. But Sanatan Goswami is offering only atta, with water, not even salt. So the activity not very important. So whatever, whoever had whatever, just is offering to Krishna, is it not? Now, the activity not very important, but the reciprocation of the Lord, Krishna's prominent position as all in all, that becomes important. That's the point. That is the point. So this is how the karma gets transformed into bhakti. When the material specifications start fading off and the dedication aspects start zooming in, start becoming prominent, that's where the karma starts getting transformed into bhakti. And that's what we see in this beautiful. So this beautiful section is showing us a transition, is it not? A staircase, is it not? Which is what Varnasrama did, is it? So ascending is more important principle, rather than the specification of the stairs. That's what we can learn here. So we will stop here for today, and we will continue again further in our next class. Granthra Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.